Okay, you guys, so I pulled up a sample project here just to show you the basic workflow of working with Unity Collab, okay? So I have Unity Collab turned on. One person in your group should have set that up, and I had a tutorial on it. But the basic idea is whenever I make a change, this little asterisk shows up saying I've made a change to this scene. I Control S to save it, and then I go up here and I've got this blue arrow saying you've got stuff to, it says you don't have a scene. It's got, you've got stuff that you want to push to the cloud. So you put something in here like I moved the restart button up a little in level 2. Okay, I made that little change. I publish now. It takes a minute. This is uploading multiple things to the project. This is my first time pushing it. So it uploads, great. And then what you'll see is you are up to date. When you go back down here, depending on your version, you might see a green check there, or you just might not see a color. But as soon as I make a change, this is unsaved so far, I save it. Now, oh look, you've got something that's different from the cloud. Do you want to push it, okay? And so you have files to publish. Go, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Again, I tweaked the position of the restart button in level 2. Right? Just being super clear to the team what happened. Now, in general, you don't want to be working in the same scene. So if I'm working in level 2 and somebody else is, when I just sent my level 2, right? So this is a file, right? You go down into assets and you go to scenes. So here's level 1, level 2, and sample scene. So I just changed this file and pushed it to my friends, like saving it in Google Drive. So now the other people see a little orange arrow with a down saying, oh, do you want to download? There's some changes in the cloud. When they go to here and get that, and I'll show you that in a second, that will delete their level 2 and put your version over it. So 2 people should not work on the same project. But the workaround is you work on separate files. So if you both want to work on this in this scene, what you do is you delegate what pieces of the scene you're working on. For example, say, you know what, I really want to get this truck up and going. I want this monster truck to go rum, rum, and like drive over these restart buttons. So right now it's white, meaning it is an individual game object in this scene. It exists nowhere else. So to edit it, I would have to edit it in the scene, which is exactly what I don't want to do. I want to be able to work on the truck like in my own garage virtually, right? And tinker, and then say, okay, the truck's ready, use it. So what I do then is I go down here to my folders. Now you could drag it anywhere, but for organization, we put it in Prefab, but it doesn't matter. You could put it over here or in any folder, but you just grab the game object itself from the hierarchy. So this is a white game object that only exists in this level. And now when I drag it down, I now have a template game object that can be used in any scene. Okay, so now what I could do, so I could save this. Okay, all I did was change truck from an individual instance of one game object to now a blueprint, right? So it's a prefab game object now. So I'm going to save that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I want a new scene. Okay, this one is called like, let's rename this scene, or let's just save it as. Let's go into scenes and let's save it as like my truck garage, right? So just playing around in my old truck garage. Okay, so in here is nothing, and I just bring in the truck. Okay, now this is the same truck that was in the other scene. So see, it's blue, it's a prefab. So if I make a change to it, okay, so I'm playing around with it, I can test it out in my own scene, I save this scene. But the main thing is I can be changing this prefab. I double clicked on it to open it. The background goes blue. That means you're not actually changing the scene. You're changing just the truck. So I could change something like, I could be like, you know what? I want these wheels to be a little bit smaller. So 0.9 and 0.9. That's a little better. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually want this. I like the gigantic wheels. But let's switch these to 0.9. And 0.9. You know what? Let's tint the truck a little bit. I'm just thinking of what's like the easiest mods we could do. Let's make it a little more yellow. So let's like, oh yeah, it's a little rusty and old and aged. There we go. So it's a little more yellow. Or we can go really extreme. So it's like neon green and red. Okay, so those are definitely some changes I made. So now what I can do is I can go back and notice it is now changed in this scene, but notice also, even though I never made any changes to scene 2, if I go back to scene 2, the truck's green, right? All I did was go into assets and go to prefabs, and I'm just working on my truck. I don't even need to be in a scene. And I can be like, you know what? I don't actually like the green. I'm going to go back to the truck chassis, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to, actually, I want it to be like really dark. This is a dark truck, and I want both wheels, right? I could even select both wheels. They both have a sprite renderer, so I could change this attribute for both wheels. And I could say, you know what? And I want these to be a little more red. Okay, so I want like red wheels and a dark truck. So notice I'm just editing this prefab. I'm not touching scene 2. So now when I go back to scene 2, the truck's different, right? So that's the workflow you want to work on. All you have to do is one time make a prefab and put it in the scene. Done. That's the only change you're going to make in the scene. The rest of the time, you will go down to prefabs, double click on it, and make whatever changes you need. And then when you want to play it out, just make a temporary scene, right? So I could just go here and go, let's make a new scene. Okay, and I'm going to save this as, this is in scenes. I'm going to say, my name's Brendan. So I'm like, well, Brendan's play testing scenorama. Okay. Oh, my meeting. Okay, so that's, I'm just going to make a new temporary scene. Okay, I'm going to drag my truck in. I'm going to drag some ground in that it can drive on. I could even go into this restart button and I could stretch the scale out to like 5 and go, oh, that's hideous. But now, even though I never changed level 2, when I go back to scenes, level 2, oh, right, I never saved that scene. So let's save that scene, Brendan's playtest scenorama, before I leave it. But look, all of those objects, right, are different now. Let's go back to prefabs. Let's go back to this one. Go, actually, no, let's reset that. And then let's go back to scene 2. And look, they're all back. So that's the workflow you want to be working on. Use prefabs. Do not work in the same scene. And now that I've done all this tweaking, I just go up here and go, I have been playing around with the truck prefab and restart button prefabs. I'm changing colors and scales. Okay, and notice it tells you exactly what files you sent. So I've sent the truck prefab. I've sent this scene. I did edit truck or level 2 a little bit originally at the beginning, and the truck garage.unity. Okay, I can also go to here and revert these to an older version. I could even click here and open up all the old pushes, and I can go back to something. Like if we accidentally overrode something, we can go back to an older version, okay? But right now, I just want to publish that. There's all my stuff. And then whenever one of my friends publishes something, I get a little orange download arrow, and I go, ooh, yeah, I want to download their changes, and boom, it loads in Unity.